is property of the Bell system and not for sale. I should have them arrested.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
London. After all these years, I've finally gotten to London, Kentucky, where it sounds a little more like this. London. Highway 25 goes not just through eastern Kentucky, but through some of the great cities of the world. Paris, Kentucky is on one end of this, and here we are in London. This is one nice thing about these sales, is it gets you off the freeway and you get to see how things used to be when this was the main route between Ohio and Florida. You see the Cunningham law of ices. I didn't know that ices were such a specialty in legaldom. I know Laura Caldwell just went to London too, but her London didn't have yard sales along the highways. Well, let's see what is in this London. Shiny teapot. This looks like Puritan's pottery down here. I don't know that it should have had a lid, but it does have a crack. Nope, this all seems like newer stuff to me. Wicker. Some 1970s low tables. This looks like it might be some sort of an antique or thrift shop actually, so we'll see what they have inside. I see some ice cream chairs. I don't really need to be buying a lot more large stuff unless it's something really, really amazing that I just have to have. $10 on the phone. It's white, which is a typical color, but that's a cheap price.
And it is property of the Bell system and not for sale. I should have them arrested. Oh wait, we got rid of the Bell system.
Here's some cute little perfume bottles. This one's crackle glass, but it's got newer attachments, probably 1990s. This looks Czech, or at least it's pressed to look like Czech. It's not cut. This could be a Japanese knockoff from the 50s, but it's $10 and it's a good color. You can see the seams, but I think there's enough design. I don't mind that for that price. This one here is a newer commercial perfume bottle. There's commercial and decorative, and I'll take the decorative in this case. Butler's Pantry by Lennox. 1930s. These are nice for port stems these days. These used to be wine stems, but people drink a lot more wine than they drink it now, it seems. Although they said people are drinking less, so maybe smaller portions. But maybe we'll go back to that size. Boxes here originally would have been full of candy, and then were a nice thing to put on the dresser. Oh, but this one has a mirror in it, so I believe this one was actually made as a jewelry box. You see both types, but with the mirror in, unless that was put in by a later owner. I suspect that was actually done for jewelry originally. You know, I was expecting to see more of this kind of stuff along this way, so I'm actually glad to see some smalls, even if I'm not finding anything amazing here. Oh, look at this. I sold a bunch of this chintz to Joy at Lehman's Antiques coronet with the paisley chintz. And I really like that. It's a little too worn though. Is it okay to open this case with the little jewelry?
Yes. You gotta squeeze it.
There we go.
Hello. Hello. We were trying to beat the heat in here, but it's starting to heat up in here too. She turned it off? It's really working. She's outside. anything special?
No, just the open.
Just the room next door.
Okay.
You know how much the gold table is?
It's $3.75.
Yeah, it's really cool. You don't see those that much anymore.
And that a little old lady brought it in.
Yeah, that's cute. I can see one of those fancy lamps with cherubs on it or something. Indian head crock is $125. That's upside down. That looks like it would hold a candle. That right there, I believe that's a Blanco paperweight priced at $65 from about 1970. That's about the right price. It's a nice piece. Here we go with a lot of green depression that will glow under a black light. It looks like they have one in there, so they are onto that, of course. Prayer Lady is cute. Here's what I like right there. $75 on the left, unusual shade. The one on the right, I'm not sure. We'll take a look. Looks like $50. This one has a strange factory flower. It has color, a different sort that got in the batch that has gone all the way up it. So that one is not for me. This one I would like to be about $40 less, but it is a pretty cool one and it is big. And in this market, with the interest they have, and it's an unusual shape, I don't blame them for putting $75 on it at all. The Ransburg trash can I got, well, a generation earlier, they were painting pottery to look like that. $15 and $18. Really, it's very well priced for being very folksy. I like it. Well, let's go back and see this last room here. Some old tomes on the shelves. Well, I'm glad I came in here and see this is a smart thing to do. You open your shop, you put your bargains outside, you lure people in, and I ended up buying things inside that I thought were very well priced. I'm very thrilled to get those 2 cameos. There's a very old printed treatment on milk glass from about 1910 for $6. But I'm happy with what I got. I finally found some jewelry that was decent. To get 2 cameos for under $35 after I looked at the receipt, I was very happy. So we're gonna head back on Highway 25. I'm at a double house sale. That one to me looks more promising, but now I see the side table here, so I guess I'm gonna hit them both. I think I'll start where there's no people. Ray-Ban is sure everywhere around here. Does that mean that it's the next big thing, a passing thing, a thing to look for in 25 or 30 years and start selling again?
So,
Hello. In any event, there's a big selection of it here. And some fun pieces, I have to admit. I like the Merry Christmas guy. But I see a little potential for older things on this table, so we're going to take a look now. Well, the Pyrex is no real bargain, although I like this pink for $15. If I was going to get any of them, I think it'd be this. The bright sunlight makes it really easy to judge the condition. This has a little bit of scratching on the lid. This one has one very faint one or 2. I might see if we can get a better deal. Big old Daisy season for $18. Pretty sure this is California from the 70s. And there's lots of extra pieces. Yep, California, USA.
I collect prissy pieces.
Okay, I think that is Joaquin of California. Lots of little side dishes for you to eat with too. That's actually a pretty complete set and it's huge.
Yeah,
I
I know.
don't usually buy these, but it's flawless. Let's see if I can bundle. Astoria American strip cut syrup. That may still be a pretty good piece for them. I'm going to hang on to that while I walk. This is old pattern glass. Danny from the Edge Lady would like this. I think it's about $1920. Not a bad price. I kind of prefer this one. There it is. I think I might just get that for that reason. That's fascinating to a few people, I'm sure. Glass walks like me anyway. Well, I'm going to have to talk to him about maybe accumulating a few things here. One Casper Salt and pepper shaker, because it looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Okay, well, directing traffic here, but that was a fun sale. I ended up leaving the guy my card because he said that they've been collecting and buying and selling for 40 years, and now they're really getting serious about selling. And they had some neat stuff. That cake plate I got was not Moon and Stars, it's Manhattan, the original Manhattan from the pattern glass era. Adams made Moon and Stars in 1894.
There's an army jeep of a sort. Not really, but it's dressed up sort of like one.
This ought to be something. Looks like there's a bunch of stuff potentially here, and I see old things right away, which is a good sign. Good color on the old enamel boiler here. Fairly common piece, but in decent shape. This is a little bit later, it's not super heavy. Earlier ones go for bigger money. Cute little wagon. I've had luck with selling wagons before, that's neat. I wonder what they're asking.
It says it's a clipper coaster.
Aw. Poor swordfish lost his sword. Burkhart's Custom Brew. I always think of Jackie Burkhart on the That 70s show. Golf, factory fresh batteries at all times. $400, but that's got to be a pretty hard thing to find. This is a great Schlitz sign. I doubt any of this is going to be cheap. $75 on Black Label is really not a bad price these days. The plastic ones have gone way up because all of this category has gone way up. $25 on Bud Dry, and that one's fairly recent vintage. I love this guy here, though. This looks like it was out of a restaurant in the 1950s. And Goebel, all this stuff's really cool, but unless this thing, because it's a little bit rough and rugged, and I don't think that would polish out too well for me unless I spent a bunch of money, so unfortunately, I think they're going to have to stay, but they're sure cool. Ah, Dick'll Do It is cleaning and hauling. That explains the name. Shame on those of you with the dirty minds out there. This isn't sold. That's a really neat arts and crafts era piece with that metal work where they really went for that castle style. I mean, this is just a very handsome American oak piece of furniture. It needs a piece of glass, but otherwise it looks like it can be brought back pretty easily. Well, he had cool stuff, and he told me I needed to see this place, so I'm going. There's part of a 1950s all-steel kitchen, which I still think is a great idea in some ways. Care and maintenance is easy. I like these hand-hewn chairs. We see these in Appalachia, but we also see them in other parts of the country, including Washington State. You can see my legs. I do. Hello. Too bad that's got just a little damage because it's only $25. It's a nice shape. Pleasant little folding tables. This one has a lot of stains because it was used as a card table a lot, but they did prints on them in the 1930s. I've had them even have more spare prints on them. $15 would be a great price if it was cleaned up. Neat Italian one. I like the butterflies. You see the flowers a lot, but the butterflies, yeah, that kind of gives it a little extra something. A little rusty, but it's definitely a look. Cotton Club full quartz. That's neat looking. Definitely some neat stuff in here. So, Falls Finds Unique Resale Shop. I don't know if that's her business or something she took over, but she's got cool things and interesting things. I see why the guy next door thought I would want to look at this. Old pipes about $5 each. This is $2. It's rather an old piece of cloisonne. It's very nicely done. You see some of the sparkle in it. It's unfortunate that the finial is broken because it would be a wonderful piece and worth $40 or $50 potentially. These are only $5, and these are the Sphinx from the 1920s. They're just small for little paperbacks, but I'll take them for that price. Oh dear.
Yeah. It's all over.
Summer in Alaska, and you're still wearing a parka. Although maybe not this year. I hear from my friend up in Delta Junction that they have thought and are open at their antique and vintage store. It's unfortunate for me that the condition of this book isn't very good because it actually seems quite interesting. It was written in 1891, so this is before the gold rush. Talking about this man's travels through Alaska exploring along the Yukon River. Shortly after that, gold was found along the Yukon River, which made Seattle the city it is today and put Alaska on the map and made Seward's Folly seem like a much better deal than it had originally. There's some different kinds of things in here. I like this. It's glass block. It's got some sort of an etching on it. It's very heavy. It's rather artistic. It's $5. I don't know who did it or what it is to represent, and that might be fun to find out. The markings on the bottom do not seem to have anything to do with the maker name. It's $5. It's handmade, but the person went to the trouble to get some sort of a stamp, so we know. Handcrafted by Walter Baranecki. I don't know that he is someone of note, but I think it's got a great modernist aspect to it, and I'll take it for that price. If you turn him around, I can't show him on YouTube. That's the surprise. We'll just let you think about that for a moment. Guy's cute. I'm sure he's got some age, but let's take a look and determine. Teapot for your nut tea, I guess. And yes, that's Shepherd, Japan. This is $400, but this is from Detroit. This would have been on the city buses. And you turn the crank and that makes the whole thing roll. That's pretty cool. And look at this old torch. I've sold a lot of torches in my time. I've never seen an Art Deco one from the early 30s with that streamlining. What a great design. Hostess glassware styled by Betty in the original box for $15. These folks relocated from Akron. This is their semi-retirement. They didn't want to work as hard as they were in their store there, which apparently they were well known because they would clean out places and everything in the store, nothing would be over $35, even if it was worth $100. And so they were on television and it got to be a big, huge thing. And, you know, like a lot of people who have that experience find out, it's hard, it's a lot of work and you get tired. You want to do something a little easier. So they are in Kentucky doing this now. And this is just fun, and they've got some cool stuff, and the prices seem pretty good on something, and I'm going to take it. This is such a fun little space capsule, right out of the 1930s. It's a shame about the crazy. It's $25. This is a red piece. Their designs were always fashion forward.
I'm more like your husband, and my partner in crime is definitely more like you. And
Like Felix and Oscar.
yes, exactly. I think it happens in all of these collecting families, but it's okay because one keeps the other in balance. We're all entrepreneurial and we all have great ideas, and it's just a question of, because we're always thinking that way, there's more ideas than there will ever be time to execute. And trying to come to grips with that, I think in some ways is the hardest part of doing this business. Sheriff Eugene, 1938. Yeah, this is great. Thistledown. Very cool. Thistledown's in the Cleveland area.
Yes.
Royal Minuet. Oh, this is great though, and it's got all the information with the trainer and the dates and everything. This is very thorough. Yeah, these are great. 35 a piece seems just fine because they're obviously professionally done. I mean, this was some presentation someone was making to the Horsey set back then. That's cool.
This canteen is ceramic. It's a memorial for someone who was in the 2nd Regiment of OHA, died in 1878. Cannot make out the name of the person, unfortunately, but that is interesting.
I spent a little more time at Dick'll Do It than I expected to, but boy, that was worthwhile. And I will definitely check this place out when I'm coming through here again. They had some pretty cool stuff. I resisted the beer signs as much as I'd like them because all of them were just a little not right or damaged or had issues. But I got some really cool stuff from the other half on the other side. So very happy, especially that Baccarat tennis player. That potentially is worth $150 and I got it for $20. Our next town is Corbin. And Corbin is known for a very famous someone. In every other town in America, you would look at this Kentucky Fried Chicken and think, big deal. Well, this is where Kentucky Fried Chicken started. There is the Sanders Cafe sign.
I have to admit, it smells really good.
Interesting, this says things to do in Corbin and Pinball Museum. That sounds like fun. They have a record store. Whitewater river rafting. I haven't done that in a long time. That looks like fun. There is a great old sign with the turquoise background, 1950s. That is fantastic.
The painting of Colonel Sanders is by a famous artist named Norman Rockwell. Speaking of rocks, okay, that was a stretch. We have rock maple furniture as well. And I bet they're going to tell us that this was very similar, or maybe exactly what was used. It looks like 1940s red anchor hawking ruby red. Original furnishings, yeah, this is great. Hard rock maple, yeah, it really did start to become very popular around 1940. Apparently he told somebody the secret recipe because otherwise we wouldn't have it, so it can't really be a secret. But they don't talk about it, that's for sure. Old pressure cooker. This was his patent, and that was pretty brilliant because pressure cooking meant that you could really seal in the juices. Old kitchen equipment really hasn't changed much. This is 1940s, but does it really look different? I think Copart still makes most of it. This is pretty fun. I did not realize this is why this place was closed for a while, because they were trying to reassemble a lot of what would have been in the original restaurant so that people could have a little more of an idea about it. There are people who love collecting restaurant and roadside Americana. Well, there's not anything a whole lot more American than this. This is an original uniform. I sold one for my cousin. I think he got pretty good money for it. It had a little damage, but it was early 70s and it had a Hawaiian print. I do not see one of those in here. I wish I'd kept it and sent it to them now.
The Sanders Cafe and Motel were up the road a little bit from downtown Corbin, a couple miles back in the day. Corbin's grown a lot since then, so it is now the north end of town. And there's a vendor mall out there, but we'll have to hit that another time. My mother spent the better part of 2.5 days waiting for the road to reopen after a flood here at the Corbin Bingo Parlor. My mom likes bingo.
Well, this place seems like it's got a bunch of stuff. Don't know if it's old, new, or in between, but we're going to take a look because it looks like there's 3 or 4 people selling together. It's almost 6 o'clock on Friday, the end of the first day, and for me, the only day of the Highway 25 sale. I've covered a fair piece of ground. Sioux pottery, it says. These trophy lamps have a nice profile, but they are not in good condition, even though they look like they've been rewired. Attack of the killer potatoes, $1.50 a bag. Well, here on my lap are 2 things. They cost $2. I got them only because this has an open back, which makes me think that's a sapphire on onyx in all likelihood. Maybe a diamond, probably a sapphire. And that could be gold wire. It might only be 10 karat, but for $1, if it was 10 karat gold wire, that's probably $35 or $40 just for that. And then this, it's kind of worn on the high points, but it's the stick coral. When I turned it over, it's actually quite substantially made. It looks more like the way Victorian jewelry is finished in the back. I don't think it's quite as old as that, but it's got some heft. So I figured as cheap as they were, why not? This is Cumberland Falls State Park. I wasn't planning on coming here, but it turns out the part of 25W that gets closest to the park ended up right where I ended the shopping, so this is definitely worth showing you folks. The moonbow, it happens once a month because it takes a full moon and a clear sky, if you get a clear sky, so it probably happens about 8 times a year. It's really beautiful. You know, being from the West Coast originally, I'm used to mountains and waterfalls, and this is one of my favorite places in Kentucky because it's got that.
Well, this has been a great couple of days of cross-state shopping. I love these highway sales. You get to sightsee, you get to travel, you get to tour. And you know, with gas at the prices it is, it's nice for it to be efficient this way. I don't go to a lot of individual yard sales, but when there's the potential for 100 or more in the space of an afternoon that you can drive and see if they're worthwhile, I think I stopped at 2 dozen. Just lots of fun. Got lots of good stuff. Got a nice hairdo thanks to the wind here. Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below. Click the bell to be notified when new videos upload. Leave a comment below and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.